There's so many people in here. Maybe I should come back later. No, it's a public gym. There's always people. Where do I even start, though? It's been so long since I've worked out. What if people think I look like a fool? Just breathe. I need to hit chest, but that girl is right next to the machine. What if she judges my form? Stop. Calm down. Breathe. God, I've been standing here too long. Fuck, I made eye contact. She's gonna think I'm a creep. Am I being creepy? Wait, she's looking this way. Breathe. Is she interested in me? Smile. Ugh, why did I do that? I don't know where to stand. I don't belong. Breathe. Why is this so hard for me? I'll just do push-ups in my room instead. Oh God, is she coming over here? Breathe. I can't do this. Breathe. I can't do this. Breathe.
I'm Jared Jorgensen. I go to University of Denver.
My name is Jack Blackburn. I'm 22 years old. I go to CU Boulder.
And I have social anxiety.
I have social anxiety.
I noticed that I was socially anxious when I was in high school, walking around the halls and not wanting to talk to anyone.
I guess I didn't really like attention. What makes it different from normal shyness is when I don't, or like it stops me from acting, you know, like where those feelings grow so big that it stops me from doing something that I would like to do.
I would say that my anxiety is different because I feel like there's a constant voice in the back of my head that's telling me like that was something that was stupid to say, or like having a fear that if I say something it'll be stupid. Whenever I'm talking to someone, my social anxiety flares up a good amount. I feel like I have to keep the conversation going, or if the conversation starts to dull out, I feel like I failed.
I guess what goes on is usually in my mind, like I said, it kind of goes more blank, I think. Like I have trouble thinking forward, I guess.
I'm not too anxious right now. I'm usually not anxious around people that I know. Depends on the environment. If the environment is a bunch of random people that I don't know and I have to like go around in this like a social setting, then I feel like there's a lot more to do, especially if there's like nothing involved. For example, if I go to a bar and there's like a pool table, I don't feel as socially anxious because there's something to do.
How far out in advance I like plan something also has a big effect on how anxious I will be. My anxiety was at a peak when I was about 16. I was playing football and I remember every day before football I would get this most intense like butterflies in your stomach, you know, like feel like you're gonna just explode from the inside out. It was like just right, the closer we got to the moment, the worse it would get. But then when the moment actually came, it kind of washed away and it really wasn't bad anymore, you know. Like the actual situation, navigating it is not usually a challenge. It's usually building the scenario in my head beforehand that makes it anxiety ridden. Building the scenario in my head beforehand. I guess what goes on is usually in my mind, like I said, it kind of goes more blank.
Let's take a pause. This is my friend Jack, and I'm Liam. After hearing that my friend struggled with this feeling of blank-mindedness when talking to a stranger and the anticipation leading up to the social interactions, I came up with an experiment. I first told Jack during the interview that in the following weeks, he would be getting mic'd up and told to engage in a conversation with a total stranger. I didn't tell him when or where so he couldn't do any pre-planning, but weeks later, it was time for Jack to begin his experiment.
Well, the closer we get, I get a little bit more nervous, but I feel like I shouldn't be. It's just gonna be a small conversation with a person I've never met before. We do that every day, don't we? In terms of a plan, I'm just gonna go up to someone and say, hello, how are you? How's your day going? You know, something like that, and see where the conversation heads.
We walked down to Pearl Street, a popular strip mall in Boulder, Colorado, and began our search for Jack's target. And then finally, Jack found his match.
How about this? How about we go talk to the hot dog man? So we've decided we're gonna talk to the hot dog man, the man who runs the hot dog stand over there, and I'm just gonna ask him about his hot dog stand. Hey, doing well? How you doing?
Good.
Could I get a beef hot dog, please?
How's your day going?
Pretty good. Just been up doing school since the morning.
CU?
Yup. From Austin, Texas. What about you? Where are you from?
Jersey.
Really? What brought you out here?
And the Jersey?
I went to Newark, the airport, and
That's the worst place.
yeah, and everyone was like looking at me like they hated me. I was like, I'm just trying to walk through the airport.
It's not that they do hate you. It's just the look on their face. It's just how they look.
That's
You
just
know what I mean?
the resting bitch face.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's just the way they look all the time. So don't take it personally.
It's supposed to snow tomorrow?
It's supposed to get like close to 5 inches, maybe more here.
Wow. I'm going home for Thanksgiving, so I'm glad I'm
Oh, it'll be
getting
nice
out
and
of
warm
here.
in Austin.
Yeah, it'll be warm.
Well, have a nice holiday.
You too.
Thank you.
We talked to the glizzy man. Gave me a glizzy. We talked about normal things. I asked him questions. He asked me questions. And now we're here eating glizzies.
While Jack collects his thoughts about his encounter with the hot dog man, let's go back and hear the rest of Jared's story.
When it comes to relationships, I've just been anxious about just approaching really anyone, going up to a girl. It's just really hard to really go out of my comfort zone and try and strike up a conversation. And if I do, I run out of words to say, or I think I'd said something stupid by the end of it. And I would just contemplate it for like 2 hours after the event happens. In regards to like going to psychiatric help for social anxiety, I would say it definitely helps. It's definitely hard to put yourself in that environment and to like embrace or like understand that you're like, you do need help, but it's not really a bad thing. It's just like realizing, well, I'm in this situation, I want to improve. So when I think about the interactions in my head and the way that anxiety interacts with it, I tend to think about things to say, and then by the time I go up to try and strike a conversation, my mind does go blank, or I just come for a loss of words. When I try and rehearse things in my head, it typically leads to me to like have like 1 or 2 questions or like 1 or 2 comments, but then after that I just go completely blank. When I try and rehearse things in my head.
Another pause. This is my friend Jared. After hearing about his habit of simulating social interactions in his head before they unfold in real time, I decided upon an experiment. With Jack, I wanted him to converse with a stranger with zero pre-planning done, but with Jared, we're going to do the exact opposite. Through the help of our mutual friend Giovanni, who is quite the extroverted fella, we hopped on a FaceTime and created a flowchart with the purpose of simulating a possible social interaction for Jared. We decided the location would be a bar in Denver and that Jared would be talking to a bartender. Based off our knowledge of Jared's social skills and the kind of good-hearted lad he is, we did our best to try and predict all the possible scenarios that could take place during this interaction. After the flowchart was complete, I sent it over to Jared at the beginning of the week so that he could prepare for his experiment on that coming Saturday.
So for the rehearsal that I'm going to try today, I think it's going to go quite interesting. I'm not sure if it's going to go well or bad, but I'm going to try and communicate. I think it's going to go very astray from the flowchart that we have in place, but I will attempt to stick to that.
So I mic'd up Jared and we headed over to a nearby bar that he wasn't super familiar with. After waiting at the bar for quite some time, Jared's interaction finally began.
Can I order some food and a drink?
What can we get for you?
Can I have the blackened mahi mahi taco as well as carnitas one? And then can I get a drink as well?
Yeah, what can I get for you?
Can you make a bee's knees by any chance?
What now?
A bee's knees? Bee's knees. It's like a gin, honey simple syrup and lemon.
I can definitely do that.
Oh, sweet,
Okay.
perfect. That'd be great. Well, I'm surprised you guys have the honey simple syrup.
So we've got simple syrup and I've got agave. Is that okay?
Yeah, that should work. That should do well. How many other bars have you worked at?
This is my first one actually.
Oh, okay. She was busy. She was walking away. So I asked her like all that I could. Our conversation went a little bit astray from the flow chart, but overall it went pretty good. She wasn't as interested. She was like walking around, was a little busy. She was the only bartender, and she's pretty new to it. With all that entail, it went pretty well, I believe.
We'll let the impact of this experiment marinate in Jared's mind for a bit, but in the meantime, we're going to talk to one of Jared's closest friends, Giovanni, about how he believes his mindset towards socializing differs from his friends.
Hello, my name is Giovanni Fracasso. I go to the University of Denver, and I am extroverted. I would say that my friend Jared has more of a barrier to talk to people than I do, and I am more willing to talk to people. However, I think we have a very similar level of interest in conversations. I would say my extroversion is not about having attention on me. I think it is about controlling some level of social situation. Like when I don't have control in a group, I feel very bad, but at the same time, I don't need to be the leader of that group. I just need to have an input in some way. Along with being extroverted, I am someone who has attention deficit disorder, and I would say they're kind of counterbalancing in some way. So as much as I want to be engaged with the person I'm talking to and focus on the conversation, I don't really. I walk into the social situation and I look for people I can talk to. And then I'll find a couple and I'll move on very quickly because I'm constantly looking for people I can talk to. And so it's kind of this hyperactive like extroversion where I'm looking for people to talk to, but I'm also just not talking to them and I'm just moving on so quickly.
One final pause. We're going to do one more experiment, and this time the subject will be our extrovert, Giovanni. In order to simulate what it's like to live in a socially anxious mind, I will literally be putting Jared's voice into Gio's head. I will be miking Gio up and having him wear an AirPod that is connected to an ongoing call with Jared. Gio will be strolling around the park looking for a stranger to converse with, while on the other end of the call, Jared will be doing his best to narrate what his own internal monologue sounds like when he himself has to converse with a total stranger. The hope is by the end of this experiment, Gio will have an understanding of how challenging it is to converse with someone while you are being fed this self-deprecating narrative within your own mind.
Hey man,
Stand up straight. Not too straight.
I'm doing a project for a class. Can I talk to you a second about like just being an extrovert or an introvert?
Sure.
What's your name?
Henry.
Henry, I'm Gio.
Gio.
It's nice to meet you.
Should you look him in the eyes? Do you think you're staring at the floor too much?
Do you go to DU?
Yeah.
You might be taking too many pauses. Or maybe he's just not interested.
Nice. Would you consider yourself like more of an introvert or an extrovert?
That was a stupid question.
Probably a little more of an introvert.
That's fair.
He didn't really respond that much to it. Maybe it was stupid.
I think I'm more of an extrovert, but like
Wait, did I just stutter?
I have a lot of ADHD, so it's kind of hard for me to focus on like conversations and shit, you know?
Do you think you're bothering him now?
What makes you happy?
Make sure you look like you're listening enough. You should probably leave now.
Play sports, play my guitar.
Oh, I love guitar, man.
You should definitely leave right now.
Oh. All right. Well, thanks for talking, man.
Yeah. Have a good night.
You too.
You should walk away faster.
It was harder than I thought. I think if I didn't have someone in my ear, it would have been hard anyway. To just sit down with a stranger at a bench and kind of have a conversation is not something you do normally. But he went along with it and he was game, so it worked out. From what I heard Jared say, it made me double take. I had to stop a couple times and like think about what Jared was asking me and just kind of try and tune it out. But some of the questions that he asked me about how I was interacting in that moment really caught me off guard.
Now that all of our interviews and experiments have concluded, I'll let my subject's afterthoughts close us out.
I would say if someone has a hard time talking to strangers, I think that they should, even though it can be challenging, I would encourage them to do it more because I feel like everyone has a hard time talking to strangers, and just telling yourself over and over again that it's going to be challenging is not very productive.
So when I went in, I had this idea in my head that it was going to be all on me. I would have to ask every question, talk the entire time. But in reality, we forget that conversations are give and take. In most things in life, the first step is always the hardest. Getting out of bed, introducing yourself. Things go smoothly after that. Initially, it'll get your heart rate up, you get a little nervous, but then you'll settle in and start going and start grinding.
My biggest takeaway from this would be that nothing goes to plan. So, I mean, kind of just expect the unexpected. And if it doesn't go that way, kind of embrace it and try and make do with what you've got. It's harder, but I mean, it rarely goes to what you think is going to happen.
having conversations, and some will be good and some will be bad, but the good ones make you want to keep on talking to people, and so maybe you grow more social.